Hey guys, so this is another update. I don't know what day it is. I stopped counting on how many days it's been since my boyfriend passed away. Let's see, he passed away November the 11th. So is that 5 months ago? 4 months ago? Let's see, December, January, February, March. So March 11th will make 4 months that he's been gone. I was sitting here, actually on my way home from work. I was driving and I was remembering our very last conversation and our very last day, like talking to each other. And it's really a nice story. So my boyfriend was very spiritual. He was like the most spiritual person in the world, like the most spiritual person I've ever met. And that morning, I was at work, and he texted me. He said, "Good morning," and I wrote back, "Good morning. I have something for you." Because I had been reading this book. Like, I was listening to an audio book, and I had been sharing it with him. It was a book on planetary magic. So when he said good morning, I wrote back and I said, "Good morning, I have something for you." So he responded with like the emoji eyes looking to the side. And then I think he sent like heart eyes or something like that. And then I did a screen record of the video, and I sent it to him. And then he was like, "I'm gonna have to listen to it again." And I was like, "Yeah, it's just a book that I think will be really helpful to you." So he was telling me, he was like something feels weird or off today. I don't know. Because I remember he was getting a rental car. He was getting a rental car, and he was going searching for cars that day. And he said that something felt weird because he was on the way to get the rental car, and he kept seeing police on the way. I think that was him foreshadowing, like having a premonition of some sorts on what was to come or whatever. So, oh, my bad, that was my neighbor, my mom's neighbor. But he asked me, he said, "Do you think I should get a rental car, or do you think I should Uber everywhere?" I said, "Well, it's gonna cost the same." And he was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get it." And that's when he said something felt weird or whatever. So I told him, I said, "Maybe you want to go and get some lost stay away oil, like, because he was worrying about the police and everything." So I told him to get some lost stay away oil. And but he never had a chance to go and get it because he went by the spiritual store and they were actually closed. So we were texting a little bit, and I was at work, so I ended up calling him on my lunch break. And the crazy thing is, on my lunch break, I went inside of the grocery store and I was going to just call him the regular way, but I had a inkling to FaceTime him. So I FaceTimed him on my lunch break, and when he answered, I was like, "I just wanted to see your face." And he was like, "What?" And I was like, "I just wanted to see your face." And when he answered the phone, he was sitting in the rental car. He had on he was just looking so handsome as always. He had on like his leather coat, or it was like no, he had on a black jean jacket. A black jean jacket. He had on his coaching shirt because he was a coach. And he had on his black sunglasses, and he had like a black and mild hanging out of the side of his mouth. He was just looking real swaggy. So we were on the phone, and when I first FaceTimed him, he didn't answer. So he called right back, and when I answered, he was like, "I was just about to say, I know you're not about to ignore my call." And I said, "Why would I ignore you?" And he was like, "Oh no, you'll change your number on me." Because I had changed my number on him before because I was mad at him, right? And I was mad because I was in my ego. Like, he didn't even do nothing to me, like, to make me change my number. It was my own personal whatever. So anyway, so we talked on my lunch break. We talked for like 45 minutes, I think. And then I had went back to my desk. We talked on the phone until I got to my desk. And then we got off the phone, and as soon as we hung up, he called me right back. And he was like, "I don't know why I'm telling you this, but," and then he told me something. Like, he told me like a little, it's still between us, even though he's not here. He's like, "I don't know why I'm telling you this, but the only thing I want is," and then he told me what it was that he wanted. And it was something personal for himself. So I was like, "Okay." I was like, "That's all you wanted to say?" And he was like, "Yeah." And I was like, okay. And then we got the phone. But like when he said, yeah, he sounded like, he just sounded like he was sad or something. I don't know. So we got off the phone. And I remember when we was on the phone, he was telling me, yeah, the reason I didn't answer the phone is because I was calling my barber because I want to get my hair cut today. And I was like, okay, well, what all are you doing today? And he was like, well, I want to go to the park to my game because, like I said, he was a little league coach. He said he was going to get his hair cut and he was going to buy some cleats for one of his players or whatever. And he said he wanted to go to the game at 2, even though it didn't start until 4. He wanted to go early. So, sorry. So we got off the phone or whatever, and like I said, he called me and that was it. So I worked the rest of the day and I got off of work, and then I went to my hotel room because I was working out of town like 10 hours. So I took my shower, and I remember I was like, I'm about to just lay down and go to sleep because I hadn't heard from him yet. And I was like, okay, well, it wasn't abnormal for me not to hear from him, because some nights we just didn't talk on the phone, so it wasn't abnormal or whatever. So I just didn't hear from him that night. And I ended up waking up. I woke up at like 12:30 a.m. or 4 something in the morning. Whenever I woke up, I had a text from his best friend, and his best friend said, call me when you have a chance. But I didn't think anything of it because me and his best friend, we have been friends for a while, and we are both in the same working industry. So I was just like, okay, he know I'm working out of town, like he live out of town. I was like, he probably just up, bored, whatever. So it was like 4 something in the morning, but I called his friend back. I called him and I was like, hey, what's up? You know, and his friend was like, I don't know how to say this. And then he told me that he had passed away. And I was like, how? I just talked to him on my lunch break. And when I got the news, I was just shocked. Like, I didn't know how to process. Like, I didn't cry for a while, like for an hour or so. I didn't cry. I kind of just sat in my bed, just sitting there. And I remember I laid in my bed because it was pitch black in my room. I always slept in my hotel room with all of my lights off, except for if I was burning a candle or if I had like a small desk light on. But I remember looking up at the ceiling, and I felt like some type of weird fear over me because I thought I like felt his spirit, or I felt some energy or something, and it was just really weird. And then I looked over to the right of me where my bathroom is like open because it was like an open floor plan. And I looked over and I saw like a man, like a shadow with like outlined in light, and it scared me so bad that I got under my cover. And then I felt like my boyfriend's spirit lay in the bed with me, like, and engulfed me in this very warm energy. So I knew that it was him, you know, but everything was still so fresh. So I stayed woke until it was time for until it was like early enough, until it was late enough for me to call my job and let them know what had happened, because I was supposed to go to work the next day. So I ended up calling my job. I told them what happened, and they allowed me to pack all my things and go back home because I was working in Texas. I had to drive all the way back home, so which was 10 hours away. So I packed up all my stuff, and by this time I was crying. I was an emotional wreck by this time. Like, I think maybe like 5 or 6 hours had passed by. I had cried. I cried out loud like a baby. So I'm driving on the interstate, and I had never had a desire to connect with past over loved ones. I had never thought about connecting with past over loved ones. I had never looked into it. And I have lost loved ones before, but I don't know. I never had a desire. I never even thought about it. So I'm driving on the interstate, and all of a sudden, I was like, you know what? I'm about to YouTube how to connect with your past over loved ones. Because it just seemed like, no, there's no way that I just talked to him and he is gone and that's it. I'll never talk to him again. Like, no, there's no way I'm going to just accept that. Like, I've always been very spiritual anyway. So I was just like, no, that's not going to work for me. So I YouTubed how to connect to past over loved ones. And when I did it, the lady on the video, she said, you know, your loved ones, you know, their soul lives on forever. And love never dies. She said, so if you ever feel the presence of your loved ones, she said, what you should do is ask them to show you something that you typically would not see. So I'm driving on the interstate, and all of a sudden I felt my left arm Like, it got really hot, it got really warm, and it started tingling. And my neck, like my left side of my body from here to my arm, it started tingling, and it felt really warm, a feeling like I never felt. And I remember I looked out the window and I was like, is that the sun beaming down on my arm like that? And I was like, no, that can't be the sun, because the sun wouldn't be that hot, because I wasn't close enough, and it wasn't, it couldn't have been the sun, because it wasn't enough trees, enough shade. I just knew that it wasn't the sun. So my boyfriend's name is Zed. So I said, Zed, if this is you, I said, if this is you, show me a blue beach ball, because I knew I wouldn't see a blue beach ball on the interstate. So as soon as I said it, I kid you guys not, 10 seconds later, I look over to the right of me, and there's like 30 huge blue balloons on the side of the interstate. And I burst out laughing, because I was like, okay, this is you. What's up? Hey. And guys, like I said, he's been gone now almost 4 months. And when I tell you, he has given me so many signs that he's still with me. He's come to me in my dreams. I've had so many experiences with him, and our love story is so amazing. I am actually going to write our love story out, and I am going to pay someone to animate our love story into a cartoon, because I'm sure I can tell the entire story in about an hour or two. So I'm going to get someone to animate it for me, and I'm going to pay them, and I'll always have that memory of our love story in cartoon form to just watch it, because the love story is so spiritual and it's so amazing. But yeah, I know a lot of you guys follow me from my shorts about my grief journey. So and I know you've heard parts of this story through my shorts, but I was just thinking about him today when I got off work, and for some reason when I was driving home, I started telling him, I was like, I remember that morning, I remember that day, I remember the last time I talked to you. We talked that morning, we FaceTimed that day, like you told me something felt weird. You know, I just was recapping the entire day. But I can say, guys, I can say that I am coping better than I was before. I still miss him every day. I don't cry as much as I used to cry. And I think the reason for that is because I read a lot of books on the afterlife. Like, I've become a afterlife scholar at this point. I have had conversations with mediums. I've actually had 3. I think I've had like a couple of readings, a couple of tarot readings, and then I've had like 2 medium interactions where I asked them, you know, one lady, I didn't ask her to pick up on his energy or anything. I went blindly into the session, and he came through the medium session. And then I got a reading about 2 weeks ago, and he came through. I was walking on the beach the other day, and I felt him hold my hand as I'm walking on the beach. And guys, like, the spiritual realm is very real. It's very real. For those of you who've never lost somebody, you probably don't understand this. You can't understand it. You may think that it's hallucinations, but you can't call yourself spiritual and not believe that the spiritual realm is just as real, if not more real, than the 3D realm. It's amazing. And it's just beautiful. It's beautiful. And for as much as I want to be sad, I have to balance the scales, because it's like his soul is so beautiful. And I know when he was here, there were things that he was worrying about. And I love him so much that I'd rather him be somewhere where he's not worrying anymore, instead of me being selfish, wishing that he was here with me in a physical form. So yeah, there's just an update on my grief journey. And if you guys have any questions about our story, don't hesitate to reach out in my comments. Thank you guys so much for watching. I do have a book. I'm writing a book, actually, and it's going to share a lot of my encounters with him. So I will let you guys know when the book is done. Take care. Bye.